Welcome, dear Science Scribbles viewers, to the topic Energy Flow in Ecosystems. All biological activities require consumption of energy. Solar energy is the initial input of energy for all ecosystems which enter the ecosystem in the form of sunlight. This energy is trapped and stored by producers through photosynthesis and is transferred to various trophic levels of the ecosystem through consumers. Energy flow describes the transformation of solar energy from one trophic level to the other mediated by consumers. What is the importance of understanding energy flow in ecosystems or in nature? Understanding how energy moves through ecosystem is crucial for managing and conserving biological resources. Understanding energy flow helps to determine the limits of food supply and the productivity of ecosystems. It is also essential for understanding the impact of human activities on ecosystems and environment. Only about 1% of sunlight reaching on Earth is used in photosynthesis by the producers. But this small fraction of solar radiation is enough to support as food for the whole life on Earth. The amount of solar energy fixed by producer in the form of complex organic molecules, that is, in the form of carbohydrates, proteins, fats, etc., passes from one trophic level to the next as food. When a herbivore eats a plant and the herbivore itself eaten by another consumer, the energy is said to be flowing through the ecosystem. The functioning of all ecosystems rely on the movement or the flow of this energy. There are two aspects concerned with energy flow in ecosystems. There is only a unidirectional or one-way flow of energy in ecosystems. It always flows from producer through herbivores and carnivores. The energy cannot be transferred in the reverse direction, that is, not possible to transfer from the top consumers to producers via the links of food chain. And the second aspect is that the amount of energy decreases as it flows through the successive trophic levels. That is, the amount of biologically useful energy decreases sharply as it passes through the different trophic levels of the ecosystem. Energy flow in ecosystems are governed primarily by the basic laws of thermodynamics and also by the 10% law formulated by Rachman-Linman. First of all, the energy flow in ecosystems follows the two basic laws of thermodynamics. First law of thermodynamics, that is the law of conservation of energy, states that energy neither can be created nor destroyed, but it can be converted from one form to another. Accordingly, energy in the form of light from sun can be transformed into electrical, chemical or potential energy of food or as heat depending upon situations. Thus, in the process of energy fixation by plants, radiant energy of the sun is first transformed to electrical energy in the chloroplast of the producer plants. The electrical energy is further converted to chemical energy of plants by the synthesis of complex organic molecules. This chemical energy stored in various organic compounds, carbohydrates, proteins, fats, etc., forms the potential energy of food, which is available to the consumers of the ecosystem. The second law of thermodynamics states that whenever energy is transformed from one form to another, There is a decrease in the amount of useful energy because some energy is degraded into heat and dissipated. So, according to the second law, as energy is transformed from one organism to another in the form of food, a large part of the energy is degraded as heat, leading to an increase in the disorder of energy. Although heat can also be used to do work in some systems such as a steam engine, heat is not a useful form of energy in biological systems. So the amount of useful energy decreases as energy passes through different trophic levels of an ecosystem. Thus, the second law of thermodynamics explains that no transformation of energy is 100% efficient and there is loss or disorder of energy in every transformation. The term entropy is used as an index of the measure of the unavailable energy resulting from energy transformations. That is why the second law of thermodynamics is also called the law of entropy. Another law governing energy flow in ecosystems is the 10% law. You know that at each trophic level, a part is left as unconsumed by the organisms of next higher level, which is said to be the organism subjected to non-predatory death. So due to non-predation, egestion or excretion and due to respiration, a considerable amount of energy at each trophic level is lost and is not available to the consumers of higher trophic level. The 10% law of energy transfer states that when energy is transferred from one trophic level to the next, only about 10% of the energy is stored as new biomass or new organic matter in the organism that is consuming. So, according to 10% law, only 10% of energy entering a particular trophic level is available for transfer to the next higher trophic level, and the remaining 90% is lost from energy flow path in each step of transfer. So, as per 10% law, if there are 100 calories of net primary production, only 10 calories of secondary production would be expected at the herbivores and only 1 calorie at the primary carnivores and 0.1 calorie at the secondary carnivores. So, on an average, the herbivore assimilation or secondary productivity is approximately 10% of the gross primary productivity. Again, only about 10% of the herbivore productivity is used to support a primary carnivore. And in the same way, energy available to higher trophic levels is again divided and a small fraction is available to support a secondary carnivore. This is because the cost of respiration increases sharply with the increasing trophic levels. On an average, producers consume about 20% of their gross production in respiration, while herbivores consume about 30% of the assimilated energy in respiration, whereas carnivores expend about 60% of their assimilated energy in respiration. And there is a tremendous increase in the expenditure of energy in respiration at successive higher trophic levels, primarily due to increased activity pattern of higher organisms. Thus, there is tremendous loss of energy at successive higher trophic levels and the residual energy decreases sharply to support further higher trophic levels. So, this loss of energy limits the number of trophic levels an ecosystem can support, and normally there can be about 3 to 5 trophic levels in the food chains of an ecosystem, as there is enough available energy in the top only in a short food chain. The figure shows the universal box and pipe model of energy flow in ecosystems. The figure explains the unidirectional flow of solar energy through the primary producers and herbivores to the carnivores. and shows the huge loss of energy at each level due to no utilization, excretion, and respiration. Thank you for watching Science Scribbles.